All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live for the third straight night of NASCAR '07 Truck Series racing on a short track, and today we bring you the Dodge Stadium Raceway. As in tonight's race, we have 250 laps around this Coliseum short track, and obviously familiar on the channel because just a couple weeks ago we had the Busch Series race here. Now it's turn for the Truck Series race here. Did qualify in the 7th place position. Truck was very tight in qualifying. I took some wedge out of it to try to free it up. I also boosted air pressure for the start of this race, so hopefully the handling side of things is going to be better. But it is a little concerning that I was as tight as I was being in clean air in qualifying, so hopefully in the race it's not as bad. But what we can say is that we should at least have a good finish because the short tracks have been my strong suit. We've won the last 2 races, so trying to go for 3 wins in a row tonight. And we are currently tied for the most wins on the season with Bo Phillips, who is just 61 points behind us. We won the last 2 races, but Phillips, unfortunately for ourselves, has finished second in the last 2 races. He did not lead any laps yesterday, so we ended up gaining 20 points on him. Pulling away, I should say 20 points on him because we had a max points day. We led all but 2 laps at IRP. We'll see what we can do here. We're definitely going to not lead all but 2 laps today, starting 7th. But hopefully we can get to the lead quickly, still nab the most laps led, and hopefully keep Bo Phillips from leading the lap at all costs. Green flag is in the air. We're underway, and we are racing on a Wednesday night. Got hit from behind going into the first turn there, and already seeing a little bit of contact as we get things kicked off. A little quarter-mile short track action. 36 trucks. Saw a couple cautions in the Busch Series race here. I would expect this race not to go caution-free like the race did last night at IRP, but we'll wait and see exactly how it's going to play out. 2 spots gained for Ted Musgrave right off the start. It looks like Chris Parker started on the pole, and he has led the first handful of laps. He sits 3rd in points. We'll tap to the back of Brian Hornaday there. Bobby Hamilton coming off a 3rd place finish last night at IRP. Only 2 trucks finished on the lead lap. Big margin of victory, about 17.5 seconds for Musgrave. Again, led all but 2 laps. The only 2 laps he didn't lead, Bobby Hamilton led in the middle of green flag pit stops. But off to a good start, at least getting into 4th and at least having a clean start. It could have not went so clean considering that I got hit from behind going into the first turn, but I think we got a chance here. Our bottom opened up. Hornaday got to the inside of Legacy. Musgrave to the inside of Hornaday. Couldn't get the drive off running as low as he did that corner to try to go 3 wide. Trying to keep Hornaday to the outside and get the second. You saw Hornaday overdrive the truck. Slid the front tires. Musgrave up to P2. I will say I think I made the right adjustments with this racetrack. I could actually probably go a little bit further with the wedge adjustment. Because it still feels a little tight, but it doesn't feel anywhere near as bad as it did. I'm definitely running quicker laps than I did in qualifying, so that's also good. Running down Parker. That's with him having the clean air. I squawked the tires a bit into 3. 10 laps in already. Yeah, Tigers advance into the next round. I've got my hat on. We wear it at every playoff game. Well, maybe not on Sunday because of the NASCAR race, but other than that, watch, that's like the one game they lose in the next series. They lose game 2. Just watch. This is a good luck hat. I bought this on opening day earlier this year. And look at where we're at. And they won that day, too. A lot of contact. Squawk the tires getting into the corner. 8 wheels turn better than 4, I guess. And the pass is made for the lead on lap 11. That was slightly more than a bump and run, but at least I didn't dump him. Against Cleveland, yeah. I don't remember a time where Cleveland and Detroit played each other in a playoff series. In my lifetime, at least. So if they did, it was probably a very, very long time ago. Because from my recollection in my lifetime, usually one of those 2 teams is bad and the other one's really good. You know, I think of like the 90s, for instance. You know, Cleveland was good, Detroit wasn't. Then Detroit had that spike in the mid-2000s, and Cleveland was garbage again. And then Detroit, obviously, in the early 2010s had a stout roster at that time. Cleveland wasn't great, but then by the mid to late 2010s, Cleveland got good again. and Detroit was terrible. So it's kind of like a swing of things. It's weird that both of these teams are where they're at going into this weekend. You get 2 home games. Well, like 2 potentially. 1 guaranteed, though, yeah. Hopefully it's more than 1. I think they could beat Cleveland. They did in the regular season. 6 games out of the 11 they won. You know, it was 50-50 for me against Houston. And then the way the regular season finished out, it kind of went 60-40 in favor of Houston. But I definitely thought we had a pretty good matchup against Cleveland the entire time. I felt if we could get through Houston, I think we could take Cleveland. The only team in the American League that scared me, that I felt like even Houston, you know, like I said, 60-40, I thought we had a fighting chance. I think we would have a fighting chance against the Yankees just because the pitching is that good, but the batting lineup's going to have to get going. You know, we can't wait around until the late innings all the time. At least I don't think so. I mean, maybe we can. I don't know. We've gotten away with it over the last couple months, I guess. And again today, but crazy. And another race where Todd Bodine's about to go a lap down. We've got a lot of field passes coming up in this race. Triple the amount we normally would, and that is because Bodine has blown an engine in the last 2 races. So we have not been able to do a field pass at all in our streams this week. It's like Parker's still the truck in second. We qualified ahead of Bo Phillips. I don't know where Phillips started, but it wasn't in the top 8 at least. Because we qualified 7th. He wasn't alongside of me either. I didn't look out of the rear view to see who was directly behind me, nor at the starting lineup to see who was starting where, which I probably should have before the race started. Like going to a playoff game, I hope so. I would love to. If I did, it'd probably only be 1, so I'd have to pick my poison. I know my dad was saying something about like really wanting to go to the game 3 in particular, just because it's the first home playoff game in Detroit since 2013. Or, well, not 2013, I should say 2015, they would have had home playoff games. It was the first series win since 2013, but anyway, yeah, the first time in 10 years. Well, 15 we didn't. First time in 10 years we've been in the playoffs. It's been 10 years since a home playoff game. Forget everything I was saying before that. I could go to Cleveland, but I'd rather go to Detroit for the experience. Yeah, I mean, I could go to either one if I really wanted to. But I've never gotten to experience a playoff game before, so I would definitely want it to be a home game. But yeah, I mean, theoretically speaking, I could go. If I had the money, I could go to the whole series. That ain't happening enough. I definitely won't go to game 1 or 2 because I'll be streaming Saturday, Sunday, so that's a guarantee. That wouldn't even be a thought that would cross my mind. But the rest of the series, after that though, they would all be on days that I wouldn't be doing any live commentary streaming, so it could work. I'm not going to all 3 games of the series, by the way. I don't even know that I'm going to one. I would want to, but we'll see how the next week plays out. I have beaten the back bumper down on a couple trucks already. Marvin Cheth on the 192 truck the last several laps. Definitely going to try to free this up a little bit. I think we have some drive away speed if I can free the truck up. This thing has been tight since qualifying. I didn't practice. It's probably largely due to why it's as tight as it is. I didn't have time. I rushed here. I was watching the Tigers game. Tigers game was over. I worked out, and as soon as I got done working out, I came up here and tried to get this stream going as soon as I possibly could. And by the time I got the stream started as soon as I could, it was like 5 after 7. Whoa! I did not touch him. Somehow. Darnell got shipped up into the outside wall there in the middle of turns 1 and 2 off the front bumper of it looked like Clausen. There's been a lot of contact everywhere. We saw a lot of contact last night in the truck race at IRP, and I'm seeing it a lot here in this one too. It's just such tight confines, can't stay off of one another. We've had a couple wad ups in front of us that have hit the truck in front of me a couple times already too. Oh, if Chris Parker got through all that stuff back there or not. John Fleming, Mark DeMars, Wade, Ryan Brovick, MotoGP Merchant. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. I didn't shout any of you guys out, but shout out to Eric Eastep. I know he's a Houston Astros fan. So somebody at my work is a Houston Astros fan, and I'm usually really good sport. But he seemed pretty confident that they were going to win earlier today. So I didn't want to text him. I think he's taking it hard. I was like, yeah, it's best I'll just wait till I see him at work tomorrow. They definitely dodged a bullet, though. It was risky bringing Jackson Jobe in. I don't think it was the right or wrong decision. It was a risky decision. You know, for that to be the first playoff appearance, you know, not with the season on the line necessarily, but the implications that were on the line. Because you don't know if you're going to win tomorrow. So you want to take the game while you're ahead. There's a lot of pressure to put on a guy who's only pitched 4 innings of Major League Baseball. But I don't think he did like terrible by any means. I mean, when you consider the hitting the batter on the first pitch like that was probably some, jitters, I would imagine. Like that just doesn't normally happen. Yeah, they achieved a lot last year for sure. Oh man, big stack up. Oh man, still stacking up. That was the longest near getting spun out truck I think I've ever seen. When you thought it was over, it wasn't. I hit the truck in front of me, and then I hit the truck that was nearly spinning off the front bumper of, I think, Tingen in the 126. like I said already, and I'll say it again, there's been a lot of contact in this race. My goodness. Pre-Talladega pick, I don't even know. I'm very Ford heavy. How they worked at Atlanta and winning at Daytona and had a lot of speed on super speedways all year. I mean, I would have to think it's a Ford. I mean, you'd have to think Blaney or Logano are going to be the favorites, especially considering that they're in the playoffs still. I know we could see a non-playoff driver win, but and Penske absolutely dominated Atlanta. They've got to be the favorites going into this race. And although Cindric, could do it too, I would lean towards the safer side of things because I'm always one for taking safer picks more often than not. Although, in saying that, I took Ty Gibbs to win this last weekend. He had a top 5. I mean, he had a good run. But, yeah, that was a bold pick. That was probably my boldest pick of the season. Easily. But, yeah, I would say either Blaney or Logano. I think Blaney had a better car than Logano this last time around, but Logano's had a better car through the first round of the super speedways. Pretty much the first 4 super speedway races. Really, I think the Atlanta race just a few weeks ago, I think that was the first race Blaney had a better car than Joey did on those super speedways this season. And I kind of had a feeling that could have been the case based off of qualifying alone when Blaney qualified so much better than he usually does on the super speedways. And Logano, who has been, at or near the pole or front row, like every super speedway race this season, it was odd that he wasn't. But he was the one that ended up winning. So what difference does that make, I guess? A little crossover there with Scott Legacy Jr. I guess he started in front of us, too. Already about to go a lap down. Musgrave trying to hold on to this outside lane. Should be a pretty standard one-stop race today. I expect that it was going to be chopping that truck off. Trying to get to the bottom as soon as I could before I lost too much ground. 3.3 second lead. Thought the Tigers lost today. I thought so too. I mean, they're not a team that scores a lot of runs, but when they do score runs, they score on relief pitching. I know I've said that a lot, but it is true. And today, goes to show where they didn't score until the 6th inning, and then when they put up 4 runs in an inning, it was in the 8th. I mean, they've literally been either the comeback kids. I mean, it's all the bullpen, really. The bullpen keeps us in games in situations like this, and the bullpen wins us games by closing out the deal when we're up. That's literally been the main success for Detroit this season. I don't think you can argue that. Well, that and Tarek Skubal, but that lies under pitching, even though it's not bullpen. A little bit of contact, by the way. I've seen a lot of trucks that have just been hung up on another one. They'll get into them, and then they just don't get off of them while they're sliding sideways, and that's resulted in me getting into the back of several trucks already. Luckily, it's a short track. We don't have to worry about aero deficiency, especially at this short track. Got to make it the whole way, but hey, don't speak too soon. Remember, we were looking like this in the Busch race, and we lost because of a late caution, and Eric Crocker pulled a bump and run with like 2 laps to go on me. So you never know. Speaking of stack ups and contact, stack up caused another bit of contact after lab truck was on the outside of the racetrack. I usually see them in the outer groove when they're blowing an engine, but that's because pit road's on the outside. Infield's too small. Too small for 36 pit boxes. Wow. Just 9 races to go on this season after tonight. Bristol's tomorrow night on the channel. Then we'll have 8 races to go going into next week. We'll try to run the gauntlet of the truck races again and get to within a couple left and finish it up early the following week. We'll hop back into that Busch and Cup action. The season's just so much shorter than the other two. Figured I can knock them out quicker, especially with them being shorter races too. Makes it a lot easier for me to do a truck race on a midweek night when I'm working during the week. Less time getting taken out of my day. Well, I don't think the 85 laps going to change the distance much. I mean, it's only 9 laps shorter than it usually is. I would imagine the first 2 stages are still going to be 20 laps. Final stage, all that does is open the fuel window up sooner if there's an early caution in stage 3. Because they would have to pit a lot at Dega in the truck series. By the time they go green, it's probably going to be about 38 to 40 to go, probably closer to 40 to go. I don't think they can make it on a full fuel run there. I mean, Busch he'll be good. Been great on the super speedways with RCR his entire tenure there, so he'll definitely be a contender for sure. It's just when he gets to the lead, he doesn't have that kind of pace. He's probably fastest of the Chevys on a consistent basis when they go to the super speedways since he's gone to RCR. But he doesn't have the same, front row motorsport or Penske pace where they get to the lead and they're able to just control it the whole time. Like, that's the speed Busch is missing on the super speedways. That's the only speed. He's got good speed that can contend for a win in a situation like how the last Daytona race went, where it was like an overtime restart, late going. But if it ends like Atlanta did this last time around, really the last 2 races at Atlanta, and how they ended with a longer green flag run, if he's not in the lead and there's a Penske car in front of him, it's going to just be so hard to pass. I drove it in so deep into that last corner, I don't know how it stuck without sliding the tires or sliding into the truck to my outside. I made it look perfect, honestly. I thought I overdrove it going in. It looked perfect. If I knew I could do that every single lap, I would do it, but I don't trust myself that I can push that hard and get it to stick every single corner. Oh boy. Well, contact with a guy that doesn't like me. He showed it. Oh boy, we got another stack up. Yeah, I heard about NASCAR 25 having the Xfinity series in it. I wish I had the trucks too. I wish it just had every series. You would think with it being iRacing that they would have an easier time, trying to get that implemented. Still got a year. I mean, I guess you never know. It could end up like a DLC pack or something down the line also. No, I mean, it's just going to be the truck race on Friday. Yeah, no double header. I don't plan on doing any more double headers for gaming and live commentary streams the rest of the year. The only chance is if there's a rain out where there was supposed to be a live commentary stream and it gets pushed to the next day or something like that, then I would do it, but that would be it. Or today trying to stay in the lead lap, fight for it. Musgrave made contact with him a little bit ago, an 11.8-second lead. Crazy thing is I do think this truck could be faster. I think I can get a little more free, slight better turn in, turn out. And I know that this is going to be the longest run on tires in the race too, knowing how far we can push this fuel run. So stay out of the pits as long as we can. Especially here. I mean, we'll go 2 to 3 laps down at this place if we pit early. Get a caution against us. It's crazy to think there's only 4 Truck Series races left. Only 3 truck races left after this weekend. 6 Cup races left. Wild times. Oh boy. Contact somebody trying to pit. The outside got ran into. Well, we could definitely go quite a ways further on fuel. We're definitely inside our fuel window, but a lot of drivers are pitting early and splitting this race in half. Not us. We're going as long as we can. Not going to see me short pit. A lap lead on the field. Truck slowed up. Right in the middle of the corner to pit outside when he was already in the outer lane. I mean, I guess you got to make pit road speed. I don't know where the commitment line is, so I better make sure I don't speed when I have to pit. Assuming it's under green. I didn't have to pit under green in the Busch race here because we did catch a caution. I'll just bank on that again. Already got a lap lead on the field. I don't know where that contact was, but I heard it. It's definitely somewhere behind me. Do I stream in the NASCAR offseason? Yeah. I didn't much last year, but that was a one-time deal. I was just burnt out at the end of last season. Going a couple years in a row of streaming almost every day. No, I'm good. We will be here. Honestly, you could probably get under 100 laps left before we have to pit. Haven't seen a caution to this point. Maybe we'll have our third caution-free truck race of the season. Might have back-to-back caution-free races at that, with last night at IRP going caution-free. Every time I say caution-free, I keep wanting to say commercial-free. That ain't right. That's not the word I'm looking for. Three-lap lead on the field, but that's because we haven't pit yet. Yeah, just gaming content. I don't think I'd ever like stream anything else other than that in like the races. I've had plans to do other videos, but I know that I can't create the content that I want on my own and make it presentable enough that I feel confident giving you guys the best quality content I can. That makes sense. And I feel with this, it's a lot easier way of me being able to do that. And obviously with the, streaming the races on the weekend, obviously that would be the best way to do that as well. For me personally, I don't have editing skills. I'm not great with technology, I guess, with equipment. So hence the reason I have as many technical difficulties enough as it is. I have a hard time trying to go through all that. Watching relentless YouTube videos when I'm in a catastrophic situation of trying to. Why is my internet lagging? All that good stuff. It's like I have full internet connection. I don't understand why OBS isn't connecting. Oh, I long finished that. I'm actually doing another season currently. I think I could. I would like to do a podcast, but I would also like to do it with somebody else. I already do the live commentary by myself, or even on these streams, you guys will ask me stuff about NASCAR and what I think, and I'll give you guys my raw, advice and stuff. I wish I could have a person-to-person conversation about stuff like that. It'd really be about the only way that I would probably do the podcasting route. Oh my goodness. That sounded gnarly back there. Meanwhile, as I was looking in my rearview mirror, somebody almost got turned to my outside. Good thing they stayed up there. Calamity corner there a couple laps ago. 100 laps remaining. 99 now. I think we're going to have a full lap lead on the field. We're going to have a full lap lead on the field when we exit pit road. I mean, we were close. We had about a 12-second lead before the pit stop started. I don't know exactly who was in second place at that time, but I would imagine we're clearly the last car that still has to hit pit road. I'm going to pit this time by. Four tires. I'm still going to make that wedge adjustment. Make sure I don't speed. That was pretty easy. All right. Yeah, I got to take a half round of wedge out of it. I'll drop the air pressure 1 pound just to be a little safe. I don't want to overdo it with the wedge. But a couple of adjustments. We'll have about 94, 95 laps left when we cycle off pit road. Joe Bike. I would like to do it with another NASCAR YouTuber personally. I'm also not the person that reaches out for stuff like that. The only time I've ever reached out to somebody, I reached out to the Iceberg. This was a while ago. This was, I'm trying to think. I think I was doing live commentary streams at the time, but I don't think I was doing them every single weekend like I have been the last 2 years. Because 2022, there was a handful that I didn't do, not only because I didn't go to races, but just, to watch on my own. And then I didn't start doing every race until last year. Outside of obviously races I go to. But guys look yeah, Danny B thought I was him. I ran into him at Nashville and he thought I was him from like afar because I was coming up the stairway in the grandstands to him because I saw him. I was just gonna say, "Hey, what's up?" And then I got to him. He's like, "Oh, I thought you were Iceberg the whole time." He's like, "I saw you a section down." I walking up. He's like, "I thought you were Jared the whole time." So I got a couple feet away from him, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, that's not Jared." He's shaved though now, so we don't look the same. But anyway, I contacted him because I wanted to do. I had a spitball, hypothesis, I guess, if you will. I'm huge on trivia. And for those of you that don't watch the live commentary streams or maybe are new enough to the channel that you haven't seen enough of my live commentary streams, when there's a rain delay, we'll do trivia all the time. We haven't had as many rain delays, really since the playoffs started. So if you are newer, haven't had an issue with it. But when we had a plethora of rain delays earlier in the season, even last season, we'll just start doing trivia games to bypass the time. I'll go to sports trivia website and do some NASCAR trivia to kill the time for the hour or 2 hour rain delay, however long we're waiting for before NASCAR either calls the race or, we get back racing again, just to give you guys content because we have an hour, 2 hour plus dead space of time during the stream. So anyway, even before that, with doing the live commentary streams regularly, I mentioned something about during the off season to try to get a trivia game with a bunch of different NASCAR YouTubers and do kind of a tournament style, if anybody ever watches Jeopardy, a Jeopardy tournament where you'll have basically, I don't want to say round robin because not everybody's facing everybody, but you'll have the three and then you'll have another three and another three, and then that'll dwindle down into another round of the winners basically playing each other until you get down to one winner. And I kind of want to do something like that, but I never got anything back. He probably didn't even see the direct message on Instagram. I tried multiple different platforms, but I kind of was going to spitball that. And I was basically going to be the person asking the questions to a bunch of different NASCAR YouTubers. I was going to be the one basically to host it. We could alternate channels. It was a really long, in detailed thing because I pretty much had it planned out. The only thing I didn't have planned is exact, categories or whatever, because that would be a show by show. But it would be filler content during the off season when there's nothing going on. And we could do one round every single week or every other week. If we did it every other week, then it wouldn't be as much dedication, because that is the downtime of the year, and a lot of NASCAR YouTubers that you may watch, don't do much during the off season. That's their time off away from the sport. So I didn't want to like intertwine with it. So if we did it like every other week on like a Thursday or something, stream that for an hour and a half or so, and then the next week we'll have the next round of people. Because it wouldn't even be the same people every week either, because even if you win, you'll have to wait to see who your next opponents are. So then that would have to go to the next one. But that's what I suggested. I don't know if I've mentioned that on the channel or not, just because it never got brought about. But if anybody watches those channels and are regularly in their comment sections, or obviously I know the NASCAR Weekly podcast is big when it comes to maybe a lot of you guys watching that on a semi-regular basis. If you're in the live chat for it, by all means, reach out. I think I did send a super chat a couple years ago in the NASCAR Weekly podcast, but it only limits you to how many characters you can have, so I couldn't really go into big detail, and that's why I went from that to trying to direct message just to put that out there. But obviously, you probably have like a lot of fans asking for stuff all the time, so I didn't want to seem like a fanboy in doing that. But now that I've been, streaming and stuff for a couple years now, that maybe we can run it back. Who knows? I mean, the off season's 6 weeks away. At this point, it would be kind of tough, I feel like, to do it now just because we are so close to the off season. But I know when I asked about it the first time, it was like middle of the year because I wanted to give as much leeway as possible. It was just kind of something I brainstormed for like a month or so, and it was middle of the season. I'm like, we can do that during the off season. We don't have to do it in season. We do it during the off season when there's no NASCAR going on. It's a relaxed setting. See Inside Uranus in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. He wants to see trivia. Yeah, I'm a huge trivia buff with NASCAR. I know a lot of those guys are. I know a lot of them are. I mean, just based off of like, if you were to watch a lot of their content, it would be history related NASCAR stuff. So they would know a lot. I think it would be entertaining. See who knows the most. And it could be an annual thing. It doesn't have to be a 1-year thing. Somebody defends their championship the following year. Because obviously, you lose, you're done. You don't really get much of a second chance. I mean, we could do a double round robin, I guess, but if we did that, then we'd have to do it every week to get it done in the off season. But yeah, I'd still be game for something like that. Top 35 NASCAR YouTuber. Is there actually that many of them? I can maybe think of a dozen of them off the top of my head. I feel like I would be able to put up a good fight with trivia. I think some of the older YouTubers on the NASCAR sphere, like a Brock Beard, I think would probably be the best at that just because their knowledge of something before like I was born is going to be a lot better than me. Like I can give you a lot, and I mean, even when we do those trivia, like the chat's open during it, we try to basically get every single list to our max capacity, and I'm able to knock out everything and even into the 90s real well for the most part. But I get back into the 70s and 80s, and outside of your typical, NASCAR champions from those decades, I don't know a lot outside of that. There's names I've heard, but they won't randomly pop in my head just because I can't draw a face to the name. And it's foreign. Just looked it up at 35. Actually kind of makes me feel worse about the channel. The channel state. I didn't think there was that many. I don't know what you looked up to find out about that, but I didn't think there was that many, honestly. Oh boy. Another near contact situation. Well, that wasn't near contact. It was near contact for us, but not for Todd Bodine and Marvin Shep. All right. Yeah, I don't plan on shaving my face. I have been growing my beard out. I don't know if anybody's noticed that or not. It's my Ryan Blaney NASCAR playoff beard. So when he's eliminated from the playoffs, it will get trimmed significantly. I'm not going to shave it all the way off, but I did that once after I was first able to grow a beard back when I was like 20 years old. I had a beard for, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 months, and then I shaved it off like completely. And I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that again. And I literally, I haven't had a clean shaven face since, I mean, it's been about 5 years. I would look significantly younger. Give me 1 second. I want to lose the stream. I would imagine I would look significantly younger. I think, I mean, for one, I don't have a structured jawline. And the beard makes it look like I have a structured jawline. But the weird thing is, though, I mean, I've been working out the last few years. So maybe I have more of a jawline now than I did when I was younger. I'd almost guarantee that I do. But I don't think it's still anywhere close to what it would look like having my beard. Yeah, I don't know when I would ever shave it again completely. Especially, I feel like nowadays, like I can remember when I was growing up, even like through high school and stuff, when it came to like people telling you like what you had to do during like job interviews and stuff, you had to be like clean shaven and stuff. Like I keep mine well maintained. And if I ever had like another job interview or something like that, I probably would trim it down quite a bit, but I'm not shaving it all the way off. Like I think we're well past those days where like you can look sophisticatedly nice with a beard, with a suit and tie on. Like that's my identity anyway. Like it would literally look like I changed my identity. Another year to catch. I'm not growing it out that long. No, I'm. This is as long as I don't think it's as long as it's ever been, but it's as long as it's been in a while. Like when I first started growing it out, it was pretty long, but I also didn't really know what I was doing at that time. Now I pretty much know where to maintain it. Like I always like length, but I don't like length on the sides, if that makes any sense. Length on the chin, but not on the sides. The chin and the jawline. By the way, if Manscaped ever wants to sponsor this channel, I feel like they're a popular YouTube sponsor, even in the NASCAR YouTube sphere. I would gladly promote that. It looked like I did that intentionally and hit that 123 truck. That was not the case. I don't know what happened there. The truck does feel light with the wedge adjustment and the air pressure adjustment I made. It's honestly kind of hard to tell if it's better or worse. I don't really feel like I changed much. I still feel like the problems I was having before are still the same problems where it's just kind of tight in the middle of the corner. Can't get as good of a drive off because of it being tight, but I mean it's fast. I'm literally 2 laps ahead of the field. I don't think I'd have to complain about anything. 32 laps away from having 3 wins in a row for the first time this season and taking the lead in the wins column, 6-5 over Bo Phillips. And we still got one more short track on this streak at Bristol. I swear I have not seen Bo Phillips this whole race, by the way. And I'm almost contemplating if he missed another race. Because he missed a race earlier this year. I think it was Charlotte. I think he missed Charlotte. Because I did not finish well in that race. And then come to find out I actually gained points on him by a lot. And I'm like, I think he missed. So I was looking through the finishing order to see where he finished. I didn't see him anywhere. Wife would kill me. I don't even know. Like, I think the only person that would be remotely happy if I did that would probably be my mom, because then she'd be like, "Oh, my baby's back!" Like that would probably be the only person that I could think of that would be all right with it. Everybody else would probably be like, "You look weird," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I know I do. I feel weird." I think my confidence level would drop like significantly if I shaved my beard all the way. I don't know who Derek Lalonde is. If it's an actor, I'm not a big movie buff. Pro wrestling and sports is about all I watch. That's my form of entertainment. And any movies I have seen, they've probably been like comedy movies from yesteryear. You know, a lot of older comedy movies, a lot of 90s comedies movies I've seen, but even prior to that, a lot of them in the 80s, early 2000s stuff. Not a lot of them from like the last 10, 15 years or so, but got our first caution, and it is debris. Somebody's hood came off. We didn't get a great angle of who it was exactly. Crew chief recommends I pit. Well, I'm not pitting. We're well within the fuel window. And if everybody else wanted to pit, that's fine. Watch me like pit and then everybody stays out to get the wave around and get a lap back. That'd be my luck. We had 2 laps on him. Now we only have 1 lap. Green flag back in the air. And we have 19 laps to go in the restart. Stuck on the outside lane of the racetrack. So we are not going to have back-to-back caution-free races. 3 lap trucks on the bottom going to get by the race leader Musgrave. Musgrave back to the inside. Cleanly at that. So 1 truck got the free pass. KC won again. Wow, okay. Honestly, as bad as Kansas City was, they were basically like about Twins level bad over the last month and a half or so when Detroit was catching them. They just had a bigger gap over Minnesota. Plus, when they played Minnesota later in the year when they were both not looking great, KC, I think, swept them, which helped on their side of things. But yeah, I'm surprised, honestly. Now, as a Tigers fan, I really feel good. I really think the Yankees are the only team in the American League that could take us. I really do. I thought Houston would put up a good fight. They did. I mean, those games were definitely tight, but I thought that, it was a winnable series. And I mean, yeah, any series could be a winnable series, but I think New York would be tough. It's because if they get out early to an early lead, our offense is just not built to keep up with theirs. But we have a low scoring affair like we did with Houston. That's the strategy to winning. I cannot get by Ron Hornaday right now. They might have pitted for fresh tires. Because I can't get a run on him. And I was passing trucks at free will earlier to get that 2-lap advantage. I'm not going to be dirty and knock him out of the way to put him 2 laps down. Like, if we were racing for the win, being this close to him, last couple laps, yeah, I'd try the bump and run, but no sense of trying to make a rival in this situation. All right, so he goes another lap down. This is probably Chris Parker still qualified on the pole, led some laps early in the race. It's hard to believe I did qualify 7th. I did not qualify on the pole, but we are going to lead over 200 laps easily in this race. And from taking the lead initially, we never lost it, even during the green flag stops, because we were the last driver to pit. You know, and I just realized we didn't do a single field pass the whole day, and I apologize for that. We're going to quadruple down on that at Bristol. We're already supposed to have a lot of them. I was talking way too much during this stream. You guys probably don't mind it. I mean, it just goes to show, this is 2 nights in a row I've been talking a lot about random stuff that isn't race-related with this, because we've just come out here, as Roman Reigns would say, on God mode, and that has allowed us to do what we're doing. Taking care of business. 2 laps away from 3 wins in a row. And take the lead in the wins column this season. This is the first time I think well, no, technically, when I had 3 wins, Phillips only had 2 at that time. So this will be the second time we'll have the lead in the wins column this year. We had 3 wins back on race 5, I think. No, 6, race 6. And then we went 8 races without a win to 3 in a row after that. So here we go. Thank goodness for these short tracks. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that they're all stacked up on top of each other. It makes me feel like I've got momentum, but I know as soon as we go back to another intermediate track, this winning stuff's going to stop. So, yeah, definitely going to enjoy it while it lasts. I'll just do the old Polish victory lap, and I'm having a hard time trying to get the rear tires to squat. Awesome. All right. So Bobby Hamilton does finish second. He was the driver that got the free pass for being the first truck 2 laps down when that lone caution came out. We restarted with 19 laps to go. He didn't lead any laps today. Chris Parker led the first 10. Somebody else led. Who else led? What the? How does that equate to 250? I thought So we had a 250 lap race, but only 249 laps were led by a driver. Where did the other lap go? Did I miss it? Well, those are probably the only 2 drivers that led anyway. So it's either a typo. You know what? I don't think I took the lead till lap 12, now that I think about it. I'm trying to remember back to then, early in the race. I don't think I took the lead until lap 12. I'm starting to remember that kind of vividly. So I'm going to assume Parker had 11 laps led and we had 239. It's kind of funny how it only credited him with 10. But yeah, dominating day. 1 lap margin of victory. 1 caution, 1 lead change. Yeah, so he definitely led 11 if we only had the 1 lead change. 98.72 mile per hour average race speed, 56 minutes, 58 seconds total time of the race. Under an hour to get this one done here today. Very quick. Bobby Hamilton Sr. finishes 2nd, Chris Parker 3rd, Ryan Hornaday 4th, Hans Good in 5th, Bill Lester 6th, W. Tucker 7th, Wilson Eubanks 8th, C. Vance 9th, B. Fisher rounds out the top 10. Where did Bo Phillips finish? I don't see him anywhere. I don't think I saw him the whole race. Did he blow a motor early? Yeah, he didn't even race. So this is the 2nd race that he missed. He's handing us this championship. He was 61 points behind us, missing a race. Now he's missed 2 races He's probably going to be over 200 points back now then with me getting the max points day. Well, 180. 190. Yeah, 190. So he should be 251 back. He might not even be second in points anymore. That's crazy. The dude's won 5 races this season. And he's only ran 14 of them. He's won over a third of the races he's competed in. He's missed 2 races. I mean, we could have a championship race for the decade. 6 wins, but this is like Richard Petty, I can't talk. Richard Petty, David Pearson era, where David Pearson just didn't run all the races and probably gave Richard Petty a couple extra championships he probably wouldn't have had otherwise. We're gonna win this championship based off of that. Like if he just would run every race, he would be the points leader. Unless he would have finished real deep in the field today, then we might have it by now, but it's hard to tell where he would have finished in those 2 races because he doesn't get any points, and you get 55 points just for starting the race and finishing last with no laps left. So that's 110 points at the very least that he would gain on me out of the 251. And that's not counting, where he finishes, because he finished second, for instance, the last 2 nights with me winning, and I've only gained 35 points on him in those 2 races combined, despite having back-to-back max points days. So we'll take a look at these point standings. He should be 251 back. I don't know if he's going to be second or third in points, though. He might not be second anymore because Chris Parker finished third. It'd be interesting to see if Parker's in second now. That kind of stinks. I mean, it makes it easier for us, but at the same time, like we could have such a tight points battle. No, he's still in second. He's 20 points ahead of Parker. 251 back. He's missed 2 races. What is he doing? Is he like fishing or something? What's he doing? His wife called off sick, so he had to stay home. Like, why is he not at the racetrack? Sponsorship dollars? Why is he not there? I'm not holding him hostage at my house. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Oh, yeah. Parker third, Bill Lester fourth, Bobby Hamilton, good run. Back-to-back top 3s for him. Second tonight, third last night, IRP. Couple good short track runs. Had a few DNFs tonight. Todd Bodine, teammate 17th in points. Well, we'll go to Bristol tomorrow. I mean, it makes me feel better about myself going into the intermediate tracks having that big of a buffer. I was hoping I'd have a decent gap on them. Or, honestly, if he would have kept finishing second, we would have only had like a 100-point gap going back into the home stretch of the season with a lot of intermediate tracks. I'm glad we have this big of a buffer because we're going to need every point we can get. I have not won on an intermediate track. My only finishes outside the top 10 have been intermediates and super speedways. 29th, 21st, 14th in 3 of the last 4 intermediate tracks. So it's a grind to get good finishes on those styles of racetracks. Schedule, Bristol, New Hampshire are good tracks for me. And then, yeah, that stretch, Vegas, Dega. I could give up a lot of points in those races. We'll see. Vegas, Dega, and then we go to Martinsville again. So that's another good track. I mean, honestly, we could win 3 of the next 5 still. We could go 5 in a row. Bristol and New Hampshire, we honestly could win 5 in a row. And then, we'll see at Vegas. Maybe I strike through. Dega is going to be tough for sure. I finished 30 at the Daytona. And I don't think I led much. I led 6 laps at Daytona earlier this season. So And Bo Phillips won that race, so maybe he sweeps the super speedways, wins at Dega. Who knows? We'll wait and see. We'll try again tomorrow night. Bristol Motor Speedway will try to go for 4 wins in a row. Sweep the week. How about that? I didn't even think about that. Have I done that before? Have I swept a week? Might be the first. I don't know. Maybe I've done it before. I can't recall. I mean, usually sweeping a week for me before would only be like 1, 2, 3 races, but 4 races, who knows? Make some history. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night. Almost forgot what day it is. Be back better than ever again tomorrow. Happy Wednesday. Go Tigers, everybody. Go Tigers.